Biophilia is a term that literally means love of living systems. It is a concept introduced by German psychologist Erich Fromm and has been supported and further conceptualized by other scientists, including E.O. Wilson, a Harvard etymologist. He refers to biophilia as an instinctive love of living things and our innate affinity with nature. Within us lies a deep potential for our societies to live sustainably and respectfully with the earth. We have the knowledge and technologies to transform our current dependency on fossil fuels and destructive manufacturing processes to those which cooperate with the laws of nature. This can be achieved through biomimicry, sustainable agriculture, and by harvesting the sun's current energy. In order to gain mass support for these changes, we need to teach the children. We are made of the earth. From this earth, we grow. We are nourished and sustained. The Gaia hypothesis states that on Earth, all living organisms and their inorganic surroundings complete a whole, self-regulating system that sustains the exact conditions needed to maintain life. Like subcellular regulations, or how individual cells communicate with each other to complete a whole, perfect functioning organism, the Earth maintains a delicate homeostasis. We live by her. As well, our bodies are made from her elements and nutrients. Within Earth, species have perfectly evolved with their environment in order to survive and produce diversity of life. The keys to successful evolution are hypothesized that random genetic mutations give rise to desirable genetic variations. Through natural selection, the fittest will survive. And we now understand that survivor species have adapted to cooperate with each other and their environment. Because homeostasis is needed to maintain life, nature does not respond well to brute force. Our profit-focused business ethics have not been cooperating with our biosphere. We are waking up, as some of us are deeply embraced by biophilia. We need to nestle ourselves deeper in the natural world and guide our children to respect and play in her beauty before we prohibit Mother Earth from sustaining life.
I am saturated with frequencies of the motherland.
Back to the mother, back to the rhythm of our roots. Back to our nature, time to kick off those boots and plant your feet into the soil. Dig your hands into the dirt. Do you remember what life is really worth? What's it worth then? Tell me what's it worth then. Dig your hands deep in the dirt. What's it worth then? What's it worth then? Tell me what's it worth then. Dig your hands deep, so deep in Mama Earth then. What's it worth then? Tell me what's it worth then. Dig your hands deep in the dirt. What's it worth then? What's it worth then? Tell me what's it worth then. Dig your hands deep, so deep in Mama Earth.
We've already destroyed 85% of the Earth's primary ecosystems. With our current abilities, there is no reason we need to continue this way. We can adapt our systems to mimic nature and to be in harmony with life. We need to focus on conserving the remaining primary ecosystems and on recovering as many natural areas as we can. Living sustainably with the Earth will come naturally when we shift our worldview and learn how to be with nature, so that we realize that we are one with the earth, the land, the animals, the water, the plants, the homeostasis. And if we are taking resources without giving back, then we are harming the planet as well as ourselves. We need to shift our worldview, and this begins with the children. It is important to preserve the natural areas surrounding homes, to conserve species and habitat, but also so that children and adults are able to have a personal relationship with the wild. With this relationship, we will view ourselves as equally integrated within the natural communities of Earth.
My name's Chloe Watkins, and I'm an herbalist. I am a mother. I am a farmer.
a bee guardian. Um, well, I think that there's this idea in our society that hasn't always existed, but it's a fear of nature. We spend so much time inside that nature or outdoors becomes kind of scary because, we're humans and we don't have claws and we don't have a lot of natural defenses without tools and shelter. So I think that the more time we spend in nature, the fear just goes away. If we're in the woods, we can start to hear the language of the woods, and then every little sound isn't scary. We can detect what might be danger, and we can detect what is actually not danger.
My name's Jennifer Day. I am a Montessori teacher for early childhood, and I've had really wonderful experiences observing children, especially 0 to 5, need direct, concrete, hands-on experiences to learn. And so when they're just holding remote controls and learning about the digital world, that's what their sense of reality is in their world. Imagine then being a child who's never been exposed to nature and then being an adult and not knowing how to navigate in the woods, being afraid of getting dirty, not knowing how to interact with the plants and animals and use resources in a responsible way, versus the child that grows up playing in the woods and making spears and pretend hunting and learning about the plants and being in awe of the animals and the beauty and making the outside world their home in a way that doesn't damage it. And then that person growing up and wanting to explore more in nature and conserve it and use those resources they fell in love with as kids in a responsible way. Then they get to make their own rules, and through that they develop problem-solving skills and self-esteem and self-confidence. And then you allow them to do that outside, and they really develop an appreciation for nature where their needs are being met and they're having a good time, and then they end up falling in love with the outdoors, and then later as adults wanting to protect it, developing physical skills, social emotional skills with their peers as they play outside. Considering children's needs physically, spiritually, emotionally, I think it's important to think about that spiritual component, about how it's important for them to have downtime outside to connect with the plants and the living things and harmonize with the mother.
Having unstructured play in the natural world is crucial for children, and to further transform our worldview so that we can create a sustainable future, it is also important to teach children that their playground sustains all life. This can be done by teaching children about wildcrafting and giving them a vast knowledge of the edible and medicinal plants in their area. With this, we are not only empowering the child to feel at home in nature, but to see that nature sustains life and deserves to be handled respectfully. When we harvest medicine from the forest, we give thanks to the plants and the ecosystem for providing and sustaining life, and we never take more than an area can give. Teaching children these valuable skills will enhance our culture's worldview as we inspire brilliant minds to be the future designers for a sustainable human society.
Hey, I'm Megan, and I study plants. I teach yoga. I'm a massage therapist, and I have a child, son who's 5. It's really important to know your mother, because from my experience of not knowing her, of growing up in the city, and not ever knowing my true mother, like not ever stepping on the ground or sitting with a rock or sitting with a tree, that there's just a part of me that was really lost. So I would search for it in dark places. Like the more I get connected to the earth, the more I could feel her pain. So we're so in our own world that we can't feel our connection with all things. And when I do sit out with the trees or with the earth, I develop my sensitivity back and I'm not so numb. This is Amari, my son, he's 5. And yeah, I feel it's important we go out and we harvest food together. Amari's helped me tan some hides for clothes, and he knows a lot about wild plants. How we go out and he knows about the pine needles and he knows about the rose hips, which are his favorite. They're like fruit to him. He knows a lot.
This looks like a dam. I wonder if the beaver's inside it. This is the easiest way to my island. This is a very beautiful place. And some trees are like these, like this, and you can make a secret fort out of them. And plants are very useful because so they just eat rose hips and stuff like cattails, whatever you call them. My mom can make slippers with them. These are sumac.
Learning about wild, edible, and medicinal plants is important for the conservation of wild areas because it allows us to understand what these places have to offer. One inspiring edible plant that is abundant in the western Rocky Mountain region is serviceberry, Amblantier alnifolia, also known as Juneberry, Sadlow, Saskatoon, or Sarvisberry. It is a large deciduous shrub that can grow up to 12 feet tall. The twigs are reddish-brown with gray-brown branchlets. It grows in woods and hillsides, in plains, foothills, and montane zones from Alaska to Colorado. The leaves closely resemble those of the rose, but unlike rose leaves, serviceberry leaves are thinner and are only toothed on a portion of the leaf. The white flowers, with 5 lance-shaped petals, bloom from May to June and become edible, small, dark, purplish fruits. The Native Americans used almost every part of the bush. Of course, the berries are edible and can be eaten raw. The berries can also be dried whole and rehydrated to eat. The berries can be eaten in soups or used in desserts. Many tribes combine the berries with meat and fat to make pemmican, a cake for traveling. Historically, serviceberries have been used by the natives as medicine. The berry juice was made into eardrops, eye drops, and was used for an upset stomach. The twigs were boiled and made into a decoction to treat colds or the flu. A strong decoction of the bark and twigs was drunk by women after delivering a baby to drop the afterbirth. This decoction was also used as a wash. A decoction of the roots was used to treat coughs. The strong stems were used for basket rims, cradle frames, handles, arrows, ramrods, spears, digging sticks, and seed beaters. The wood was used for teepee stakes and for making toys. As the natives, while harvesting these plants, we should always give thanks and give an offering. When we do this, we are maintaining a mutual relationship. This plant has been very inspiring to many people, as it is an easily identifiable shrub whose sweet, nutty berries are irresistible. Conserving natural areas preserves edible and medicinal information and diversity, such as the beautiful serviceberry. This species has taught me to have a deep love for the natural world.
The ground is sacred, and remember that all earth is not supposed to be cut open and